So, Melanie, it's such an honor. Thank you so much for participating in the community and practice page on YouTube. On behalf of SETSI, we really thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
Nice. So, as always, we begin by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So if you can please do us the honors by introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and let us know about your amazing work.
For sure. So my name is Mélanie Valcin. I'm the president and CEO of United for Literacy, formerly known as Frontier College. A lot of your auditors will know us as Frontier College. We're a literacy organization that works literally coast to coast to coast. So from Newfoundland to BC, all across the Arctic to bring literacy supports to children, youth, families, and entire communities that need and want to improve their literacy levels.
Perfect, perfect. And if you could just articulate your personal mission and vision for us, and like what inspires you about your work?
You know what inspires me about my work, Mahat, is the perseverance, the courage, and the tenacity of our learners. So unfortunately, in this country, we still have 1 in 5 Canadian adults that are struggling to accomplish, relatively basic tasks that involve reading and writing, filling out a job application, reading a prescription on a bottle of medicine, helping their children, learning to read and write or complete their homework. So it's a lot of people that are not, being able to fully reach their goals or fulfill their potential because they're struggling with reading, writing, math, and I will also add, computer literacy. So to the mix. And we also have 1 million children in this country that are not reading at grade level. So this is kind of unknown information, and not everybody knows this, but everybody agrees, though, that literacy is a very important tool to be able to succeed in today's world, right? Actually, we just conducted a national poll, Pollara. We hired the Pollara firm to conduct a national poll to see what Canadians thought about, the importance of literacy, or if they thought that literacy was important in this world. And we were very pleased to see that more than 90% of respondents were saying that yes, literacy is very important to have good standards of living, to have a great quality of life. And they also said that, governments need to do more and invest in literacy so that everyone has the skills they need to succeed. But unfortunately, there's still everyone agrees, but there's still a lot of work to do. So when I meet and work with some of our learners and the partners that we work with to serve those learners, I'm very inspired by the fact that a lot of people, yes, are struggling, but they're willing to really give it a try and try to and work hard to acquire the skills that they need to reach whatever goal they've set their mind to.
Wow, those are very, just jaw-dropping, data that you collected there. 1 in 5. Wow, that is something. Definitely a lot of work that needs to be done, and less talk, more action. I know we come together, and that's what's key. But after that, what's being done? And that's where data comes into place, and why it's so important to collect that, for sure. Wow. Okay. And so what would you say is the barriers, that you face in your work? Any challenges, barriers? How are you able to overcome them?
I feel like talking about barriers on 2 levels, if you allow me. First, I want to talk about the barriers and challenges that our learners are facing. The people that we reach, and just to give you an idea, across Canada, this past fiscal year, United for Literacy reached over 40,000 Canadian, offering them, supports and math, reading, writing, etc. And so and so who are these people, you know, because I don't like to just give a statistics and then, or big numbers, and then who are these people? So the learners that we, or the individuals that we reach are often could be stuck, unfortunately, on a cycle of intergenerational poverty, which is linked to an intergenerational cycle of lower literacy skills. Some people have learning disabilities or another physical disability, for example. We have learners that are first or also second generation newcomers to Canada and didn't have a chance to really enter or pursue a long educational path, if I can say, in this country even. So there's a lot of barriers, socioeconomic barriers, of course, are the main ones. We have communities, also individuals that are coming from communities that have been historically underserved. So these are the barriers that our learners are facing, and we're trying to break down those barriers by deploying our services and our supports. But it's not always easy. So the barriers that we face, of course, like everyone in the community sector or the nonprofit sector, of course, is lack of funding for different activities. I mean, we're very fortunate at United for Literacy. We have a long-standing, if I can say, a network of supporters, whether they be individual giving their time as volunteers to help us deploy our activities, and also funders. But it's a constant battle, right? And to be able to keep on recruiting those volunteers and recruiting or establishing partnerships with new funders. So it's a lot of work to keep the activities going. But again, these would be some of the challenges that we face, but we're lucky to have such a strong network of supporters across Canada. I'm feeling really privileged to be able to count on that network of individuals, corporations, and government funders. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, those are definitely some challenges for sure. So that's where collaboration definitely is key. Like-minded people, people who put that passion-driven, purpose of why we're doing this. So yeah, it's very vital. It's very, very vital.
Sure.
And I love your cat, by the way. Oh my gosh, I'm so
Over there. Oh, on screen. Uh-oh. The joys of working from home. You'll have to forgive me.
Oh no, please. It's a joy to watch.
I wanted to say a couple of words about collaboration because it's so key, I find, in our sector, not only in the literacy sector, but across the board in the entire nonprofit sector, if I can say, in the social impact sector. So we have a network of about 1,600 volunteers that we can count on year in, year out, across the country that help us deliver our mission. But we also only are able to deliver our mission because we partner with other organizations. So we have a network of about 450, 500 community partners across the country that are already serving the people we want to support. For example, it could be a settlement agency for people who recently arrived in Canada, could be a detention center, it can be a school, or any type of community center. And so we come in, we establish a partnership with those organizations, and that's how we reach the people that we want to reach. So our learners, whether they're children, youth, or adults. And I really wanted to put a lot of emphasis on collaboration because without its partners, United for Literacy is nothing. I mean, we have our own programs as well, where we create our own programming, but I would say 80% of our programs are delivered in partnership with other organizations so that it can become more of a wraparound. We bring literacy, you bring legal aid or another service. So I think, in our sector, if we want to be able to really make a difference, really make an impact, and also survive as an organization, collaboration is key for sure.
Absolutely. So what kind of priorities, your key priorities you're working on at the moment?
So many priorities, huh? It's hard to identify maybe the top three, but one thing that is for sure, I think this is a movement within the entire sector. We, as a literacy organization, want to work more closely with other literacy organizations so that we can cover the whole country, if I can say. So there are 3 national organizations in this country. We're one of them, but there's also a lot of provincial coalitions. And when we look at the landscape, I'm like, let's unite our forces so that we can talk to government with one single voice so that we avoid duplication. There's so many needs. There's a lot of us, but not enough to cover all the needs. So one of our priority with the other organizations from the literacy sector is to really build an alliance, if I can say, or a coalition so that we can support each other, advocate with each other, and again, make sure that all our grounds are covered. So that's one priority. Another priority, I would say that this has been the priority of United for Literacy, formerly Frontier College, since its inception. And it's to turn every place, Mahat, into a learning place. So for me, I'm really driven by this idea that every community center, every school, of course, that's their primary function, but schools, community centers, again, penitentiaries, any place where people gather, if I can say, I'm stealing words from our funder here, but our founder, any place where people gather becomes a place where people also learn from each other and with each other. So I think this is kind of maybe the utopian priority that we're pursuing, but I'm thinking that it's possible to, if we think that way, then we're going to be able to really make a dent in those horrific statistics that I named earlier in the interview. And at United for Literacy, as I said, we work mainly in collaboration with other organizations. So for us, the classroom is the community, if I can say. Our classroom is the community. We're not a place where we wait for the learners or participants to come to us. We go and work in the community with a very kind of an approach where everyone learns from each other. So I think that this remains a priority for the organization. Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So let me ask you, how do you feel about the future of social impact in Canada? What's your thoughts?
Mahat, it's not getting easier. The needs are increasing. The volunteering rates are going down. We're reading current studies that are saying that the donations are on not on the rise necessarily, either stable or going down for different reasons. So if we kind of put all this together, it's a bit, scary. But I refuse to fall into that trap. I'm decide to be extremely optimistic towards the future, because while I see our environment maybe disintegrating in some ways, and when I say environment, I mean at all levels. At the same time, I see, for example, the social impact sector wanting to get together, work together. This amazing initiative that you have with the SETSI coalition to make sure that a small nonprofit from one province can be in the same room than a larger one that is pan-Canadian, and we can exchange and see how we can partner. I see this more and more. I see this in my sector, as I mentioned earlier, with the literacy sector. I see it with the entire nonprofit network. So I think that if we all work together, we'll be able to keep on making an impact and even increase the impact that we can have. I think that, so what is extremely positive for me is that the response to the challenges right now of the sector is to, en français, on dit, on se serre les coudes. We're getting even closer together to be able to take on those waves of challenges together and come on the other side even stronger. That's my perspective on things.
Well, it's right on the money, I'm telling you, because I mean, where do I even start with what you're saying? We do have a tall tree to climb, but I always say we are laying the foundation for the next generation, because we know it's not about us anymore. It's really about the future generation. So in order to improve these numbers, we have to keep burning that fire within, and know that it's a true social impact, like I said, that purpose-driven, that passion that we have, to really drive these numbers down. So
agreed. One thing that I'm noticing too, you're talking about the next generation, and I want to talk about this next generation of the youth that are coming into the sector with new ideas, new ways of working. And I even think that these strong collaborations that we're seeing now are kind of driven by them too, because I think, anyway, I don't want to age myself too much, but I'm coming from an era in the sector where, because of the funding environment and context and different, we were put a lot in competition. And I think that now what's great is that the next generation of social entrepreneurs, if I can say, are thinking, no, we have to do this together. We're completing each other. Let's get after the funding together. Let's go after the funding together instead of competing. So I'm really proud of that, the next generation, and I'm learning a lot from them and trying to bring this into my organization as well in the sector. And I think it's working. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what is your ultimate goal? What does success look like to you?
It's very simple, Mahat. It's funny because we're right now at United for Literacy, we're in the midst of creating our next strategic plan, and we had to ask ourselves that question. And for me, success looks like everyone in Canada has the literacy skills they need to reach the goals that they have, fixed for themselves. Yeah, made for themselves. So very simple.
That's it. Very simple, short and to the point. That's exactly it.
Mhm.
So, my goodness, Melanie, this has been such an inspirational, like, it's so informative, so important. And I hope people are really taking this in, because we do still have a lot of work to do, and we all need to come together and really change, be the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
Everybody should be able to have the privilege to read and write, no matter what demographic, what economic status, what race, creed, color, sexual, it doesn't matter. Everybody should have that right to do it. So, we really thank you. The last question is, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to actions at this time?
So I just want to tell people, get involved, whether it's with us as a literacy volunteer tutor. You can check out our website. We're recruiting everywhere in Canada, or in other organizations. As you said it so well, be the change, get involved. And even if it's just a few hours a week as a volunteer, or if you want to join an organization as an employee and contribute to making long-lasting differences, well, yeah, join the sector. We need talent, and we're a great place to be. There you go.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate all the work that you're doing. You are an amazing, I always say that important puzzle piece that goes with this grand, huge a puzzle that's going to make a huge impact for the future to come. So, on behalf of SETI, we thank you so much for all you do. We're saying to you, much success to you, much success for your future.
I
So thanks
appreciate it.
again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we will close the way that we began, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, merci beaucoup. Thanks again.